Adolf Hitler is one of history's most infamous figures, his name synonymous with tyranny, genocide, and war. But beneath the dark shadow of the Third Reich lies a man whose life is riddled with untold stories and secrets, some bizarre, others deeply unsettling. What made Hitler step into the role of history's ultimate villain? And what hidden truths shaped the trajectory of a life that would unravel into unimaginable horror? Let's start with an image: a young boy, shy and awkward, sitting at a school desk in rural Austria, doodling pictures of castles and daydreaming of artistic glory. That boy, Adolf Hitler, once dreamed not of ruling an empire but of becoming a painter. At 18, he applied to the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna, submitting a portfolio filled with architectural sketches and landscapes. He was rejected, twice. An examiner even suggested he pursue architecture instead, as his paintings lacked human character. This rejection would haunt him for years, feeding the resentment and bitterness that later consumed him. Imagine a world where Hitler becomes an artist. Would history have taken a different course? Perhaps, but the Vienna of his youth wasn't just a backdrop for artistic ambition. It was a melting pot of political ideologies, economic disparity, and racial tension. Young Hitler, living in flophouses and selling postcards to survive, absorbed the toxic rhetoric of the time. Anti-Semitic pamphlets circulated freely, and conspiracy theories blamed Jews for economic woes. These ideas found fertile ground in Hitler's impressionable mind, laying the foundation for his later obsessions. But there's another side to Hitler's story that reveals his contradictions. Despite his vocal disdain for modern art, calling it degenerate, he secretly admired some avant-garde works. He was fascinated by the operas of Richard Wagner, whose bombastic music and mythological themes inspired Hitler's vision of Aryan supremacy. Yet, Wagner's works, celebrated today, stand in stark contrast to the atrocities Hitler would commit. The man who preached purity and perfection was deeply influenced by the fantasies of an artist consumed by his own flaws. Fast forward to World War I, where Hitler's path takes a decisive turn. In 1914, the young Austrian enlisted in the German army, serving as a courier on the Western Front. He was not the commanding leader history remembers but a low-ranking soldier known for his solitary nature. His comrades saw him as odd, overly zealous, and devoid of close friendships. But the war gave him purpose and a sense of belonging he had never felt before. Wounded twice and awarded the Iron Cross for bravery, Hitler's time in the trenches became the crucible in which his political ideology was forged. And then there's the mystery of Hitler's rise to power, a story of calculated propaganda, charismatic oratory, and ruthless ambition. But behind the polished facade of the Führer lay peculiar quirks and obsessions. Hitler was a vegetarian, a decision not born of compassion but of chronic digestive issues and a fear of disease. He believed a plant-based diet would make him stronger and purer, aligning with his vision of Aryan health. Still, he had a notorious sweet tooth, often indulging in cream cakes and chocolates. One of Hitler's lesser-known obsessions was with astrology and the occult. Though he publicly dismissed mysticism as nonsense, he secretly consulted astrologers and dabbled in esoteric theories. Heinrich Himmler, head of the SS, shared these interests, driving the Nazi regime's bizarre fascination with artifacts like the Holy Grail and the Spear of Destiny. The reality was far darker: a man consumed by paranoia, surrounded by sycophants, and spiraling toward self-destruction. Even Hitler's personal life was shrouded in secrecy. His relationship with Eva Braun, his longtime companion and eventual wife, was kept hidden from the public. Braun, often dismissed as a frivolous figure, endured a life of isolation and emotional neglect, living in the shadow of a man who prioritized power over intimacy. Their marriage, conducted in Hitler's Berlin bunker as the Allies closed in, lasted barely 40 hours before they both took their own lives. This final act, staged with meticulous detail, reflected Hitler's obsessive need to control his narrative, even in death. And what of his health? In his later years, Hitler was a shadow of the dynamic orator who had once captivated millions. Plagued by tremors, paranoia, and erratic behavior, historians have speculated about the causes of his decline. His personal physician, Theodor Morell, prescribed a cocktail of drugs, including amphetamines and barbiturates, which likely worsened his physical and mental deterioration. Perhaps the most chilling secret of all lies in Hitler's ability to manipulate those around him. He was a master of propaganda, crafting an image that hid his insecurities and projected strength. Yet, behind the scenes, he was indecisive, relying on subordinates to implement his vision. Hitler's story is a cautionary tale, not just of one man's descent into evil but of the dangers of unchecked power, blind fanaticism, and the human capacity for complicity. The untold stories and secrets of his life reveal a figure far more complex, and far more terrifying, than the caricature we often imagine. They remind us that history's villains are not born, they are made, shaped by circumstance, and fueled by choices both their own and those of the societies that enable them. As we unravel these hidden facets of Hitler's life, we are left with uncomfortable truths about the fragility of democracy, the allure of demagogues, and the responsibility of individuals to resist the tide of hatred. The past may be set in stone, but its lessons remain as urgent as ever. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Share it with other history buffs so they don't miss out on this untold story.